Hello and welcome to our latest Cambly live session. I see there are already people in the chat. Thank you for joining us here today. To those of you that don't know me, my name is Daryl. I'm going to be your teacher today. Please send us a message in the chat. Tell us hi, tell us your name, tell us where you're from, so that I can give a shout out. I see things coming in already. We've got Riju is from Nepal. We've got Angela from Italy. We've got Luann from Brazil. I see we've got some regular Cambly live people watching. So again, thank you for joining us. If this is your first time in a Cambly live session or even a Cambly tutorial on YouTube, remember, if you have missed all the other tutorials, there is a big playlist with all the videos, all the lessons. Go and watch them all, catch up on everything that I and my other tutors have done, and subscribe, of course. And if you don't know what Cambly is, it's a great web-based and app-based platform where you can get English lessons and anything you need from tutors like me. And I will explain a little bit later on, just for those of you that don't know. But for now, I see more messages coming through. We've got a big wave from Raju. Thank you. We've got Divi saying hi. We've got Juanita from Colombia. We've got Joseph from Kenya. Hams from Saudi Arabia. Davy from Rwanda. Jubel from Milan. We've got Dr. Saeed from Seoul. We've got Kellebec. We've got Jennifer. Wow. Barbara from Italy. A lot of people from Italy. We've got Beza from Turkey. All right, great that you guys have joined us today. All right, so keep it coming. Remember, today is an interactive lesson, and it's a very interesting lesson that I'm actually quite excited about. So as we go through all the phrases and the words that we're going to learn today, I want you guys to put in the chat example sentences. Show me how you would use the words in a sentence. If there are some words related to our topic of starting your own business that you've heard but you don't know what they mean, send it in the chat and we will try to get to it. All right, we've got a few more here. We've got Flavia from Brazil, Kaori from Illinois. Wow. We've got Valerio saying hi, everybody. Marco and Divi is from India. And we've got Mahmudul from, he's just saying hi. All right. It's good to see you guys in session as well. All right, let's start our topic today. So today we're looking at words, idioms, anything to do with starting your own business. So that's a big topic. So I've got the whole process here, and we're going to go through each section and look at some of the important words that you would need to know if you're going to start your own business. Remember that each one of these is a big topic by itself. So if you are interested in starting your own business, take these and do lots of research into them as well. And I love this topic, actually. For those of you that may have seen my video on Cambly, I was a teacher, a lecturer, professor at a university for a long time, before the long hair, teaching business subjects as well as other subjects. So I would do a lot of these things in class, and so it's something that I find very interesting and exciting. So it's great that we can put it together with English. Now, what I want you guys to do, and this is a great thing that I want you to send in the chat, tell me what business you would want to start. We all have ideas. We all have things we want to do. So tell me what business you would want to start. And it can be anything, all right? Big or small business, whether it's starting a company and selling all over the world, or whether it's starting small from your garage, tell us. And all of these things relate to the same, whether it's big or small. So everything we're going to look at is still, whether it's a giant business or a small business. Remember that. All right, so tell us what you would do. That should be very interesting. All right, so we're going to go through each section. We've got all the sections here, and then go through the different words. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make some space here at the top because I don't want to disturb this too much. So I'm going to put all our words here. And just so you don't miss anything, as we go through a word, I'm going to put it in the chat with its definition so that if you miss it, if you didn't understand it perfect, you can come back and read through the chat and get everything there. All right, so let's start with number one, the first thing, which is thinking of an idea, which, again, I want you guys to tell me what kind of idea you would start. But let's look at some words, some different paths, different roads that you can take when you're starting your business. So the first words I want to look at is the difference between retail and wholesale. So these are very important because that's going to be an important, let me just move wholesale so you can see it. I see there's a little light spot there. Let me put it there. So this will determine, firstly, who your customers are. So what is retail? Retail is when you sell to the end customer, which is another important term to know. So you sell, let's make sure my handwriting is good, to the end customer. So if you go into a supermarket and you pick up an apple and you go and pay for the apple, you are the end customer. You're the final person that's going to eat the apple. So if you are in a retail business, this means you sell to the final person that's going to use that product. So it's a completely different way of selling because you're selling to normal people, Wholesale is different. Now, wholesale means you sell to another business, and then they will do whatever they want to do with it. So very, very different. So you sell to another business. So let's think of our apple. So the farmer will sell to the supermarket. So the farmer is selling wholesale. So his price is going to be cheaper. He's selling to another business. That business is the retail business. They sell to the final person who eats the apple. So two very different ways. What I want you guys to do is send me examples. Tell me different examples of a retail business, different examples of a wholesale business. I feel like today's lesson is a little bit of a business lesson, a little bit of a finance lesson as well. So that's what I want you to do. Examples of retail, examples of wholesale. And I'm going to write these down here. When I see some more messages have come through, we've got Sibel from Turkey, and Valerio says they're starting a startup. So that's great. Valerio, tell us about your startup and what it's about. All right. And we've got a question already, and I'm going to write it down for later. Studying English with Meng Hong says, what does the word business mean? All right. So I'll put that over here so I don't forget it, and we will look at that. Business. So I want to write down here retail and wholesale. So retail, you sell to the end customer, and the end customer is the person who uses the product at the end. And we've got wholesale, and a wholesale means you sell to another business. And let me answer the question now because I've written that down. So you sell to another business. A business is a organization that sells things, makes money. Very simple. So it could be a big organization like Apple, like the Apple company, or it could be a small business that sells coffee on the street. So a business is just an organization that sells things and hopefully makes money. And I will write that down. So a business is an organization that sells products and earns money. All right, I see some examples coming through here. We've got some questions as well. So Jennifer says a juice bar. So Jennifer, is the juice bar retail or wholesale? Tell us which one you think it is. All right, and then we've got from studying English with Meng Hong, what I can understand is that retail means you sell the product directly to the buyers. Wholesale means you sell the whole packet. So you're right in a way here, studying English. So with retail, you sell to the end customers who are the people that will use it. They are buying it, but buyers can also be inside another business. You will get a buyer inside another business as well. So that's why we must think about it as end customers, the customer at the very, very end that's going to use the product. And wholesale, you sell to a middle person. So it's you sell to a middle, and then the end customer at the end. All right. And I will answer this question, even though it's not business related. Ibtihal says, why do I have long hair? And I like having long hair. I like it. I think it looks good. All right. So you guys keep giving me examples of retail versus wholesale. And I'm going to put a couple more examples of an idea that are very new words that you may see a lot online, especially on social media. So the one, and a lot of people talk about this, is something called a side hustle. A side hustle. So a side hustle means you have a job. You go to your job every day, you earn money from the job, but then you do something outside of your job to make extra money. So it's your business outside of your job to make extra money. That is a side hustle. So a side hustle is a business you have in addition to your job. So that could be anything. Maybe you sell something online. Maybe you are a graphic designer and you have your job, and then you also design things for people outside of your job. Or maybe you're a website designer. Whatever it is, if it's a little business you have outside of your job, that is your side hustle. And there's lots of ways, or lots of people talking about how to make a side hustle these days. So now you know what the word means. All right, and I'm going to write that down. Oh, we've got, so Divi says, fruit shops are retail shops. Yes, so a fruit shop sells to the final consumer, final end customer. All right, so I'm just going to write this down here, side hustle. And this is a small business you have in addition to your normal job. All right, this is a good question. So we have studying English with Meng Hong, and he says, working as a teacher, is that a business? Now, yes, I would say it is. You are earning money. So it doesn't matter if you are working at a big school or if you're just yourself. That is a business. You are earning money on the side. That can be a side hustle. Yes, that is a business. It's a very good question. Remember what we said at the very beginning. A business or starting a business is big or small. It doesn't matter. You are earning money. You have to put yourself out there. You have to get people to give you money. That is a business. Yes. All right, so let's move on. We have done thinking of our idea. Now, there are lots of other ideas, or lots of ideas that you guys can have for a business, but those are the main ones right now. Retail, wholesale, and if you're doing it yourself in a small way, your side hustle. Then let's move on to market research. Now, this is such an important topic. When I used to teach this at university, this is something I would talk a lot about, because you can have a really good idea, can be a great idea to you. What you need to find out, will other people pay money for that idea? So market research is asking questions about the business idea. Now, the most important question is, will people pay you for it? So let's take Meng Hong's example of being a teacher. So maybe you have a skill. Maybe you can teach English. Maybe you can teach guitar. Maybe you can teach dancing, whatever it is. You have a skill. That's your idea. I want to teach people how to do this. Now you have to think, will people pay me for that? Because, okay, English, guitar, dancing, probably yes. But what if your skill is cooking? So will people want to learn how to cook, or can they go to YouTube and watch videos? So you have to now see, is it going to be worth it? Are people going to pay you money for that? And that's just one question. Market research is lots of questions. It's also asking, how do you get hold? How do you reach the market? Can I speak to my customers or can I not? If I have a good idea, people will pay me for it, but I don't know how to market myself. I don't know how to advertise. It's not a good idea. So market research is asking the question, is this a good idea? Should I carry on with all this other stuff? All right. So it's a very, very important part of the whole process. And one thing, and I put it over here in a separate point because you should always do it twice. One thing that you must ask yourself at the end of the market research is it feasible? This is a great word. It's not only a business word. So feasible is a way of saying, will it work? Will it work? So at the end of our market research, you must say, yes, I can make this business work. I can make money from this business, or no, I can't. I must think of another idea. So feasible is a way to say, will it make money? That is your feasibility study. Will it make money? Can I make this business successful? It's a very important question, and that's why you ask it at number 2. It's the next step, because if you have a great idea but you can't make it successful, it's not a good idea. It's not going to work. So let me write those down. Market research. I think we've got some stuff coming up here. I'm going to take a look. So we've got market research, which is asking many questions about the idea. The most important question, will it make money? Will people pay me for my product? The most important question. And at the end of it, we will have a feasibility study, which means, can it be successful? Will it work? All right, I see some examples coming up here of retail and what do we? Oh, I missed them. Here we go. So making movies, Divi says, is also a business. Definitely, making movies makes a lot of money. We have Sheriff, who says examples of retailers include supermarkets, department stores, specialty stores. Very nice, perfect. And we have Mahmoudul, who says cooking is one of the most important skills for running a restaurant business. Definitely. If you're going to run a restaurant, you're probably going to have to cook food. That's true. And Sheriff says examples of a wholesale business is Amazon and Alibaba. Now, Alibaba, yes. Alibaba will sell to other businesses. Amazon is a different kind of business because they don't know who they sell to. Amazon itself is, let me put it like this. So Amazon is, I don't have 3 hands. Amazon is the middleman. I'll be Amazon, right? They don't know who this person is. Is this a customer? Is this an end customer? Is this a business? They are a marketplace. So it's different. They are not retail. They are not wholesale. They provide the middleman between 2 parties. So that's important to realize. Okay. And we've got a great question here from Sharif who says, a side hustle can be passive income. Now, that's another thing people talk about a lot. It's a great question and it's a great term. So yes, people often talk about passive income these days. And yes, a side hustle can be passive income. So passive income is when you earn money, but you don't actively do something. So a great example is someone mentioned movies earlier. So when someone makes a movie, they made one movie, but they keep selling it over and over and over again in different places. So that's now passive income. They made one thing, but they keep getting money from that one thing over and over and over again. So that is different from active income. Active income, you got to do something. So active income, you need to sell every day to different people over and over again. So a side hustle can be passive income, but it's not always passive income. So let's write up the definition of passive income. So passive income is one product or one thing makes money without activity. So another thing that people talk about for passive income is the stock market or even cryptocurrencies. And we're not here to talk about those, but those are what people say are passive income because you invest and then it's supposed to make money for you and you're not supposed to do anything. So that was really a great question. Let me put it down here. So passive income. So this is a product or investment. Ooh, my typing went bad there. Typing or investment that makes money without additional activity. So you guys can send me examples of what you think other passive income streams could be. Okay, and we've got some more examples, and then we're going to carry on. Massimiliano says Mercedes sells cars to customers. Wholesale, B2B, very good use of B2B. Interior suppliers that sell equipment to car producers. Perfect, well done. All right. And Studying English says, we plan to run a private school. Thus, can you show me a bit for what I can plan to do? So we're going to carry on now. We're going to do that. So we've done our idea. We've got our idea. We've done our market research. We think people are going to pay us money for what we're going to do. And it seems like it's a good idea. We've done our feasibility study, our first feasibility study. So now we're going to carry on and make our business plan. All right. Our business plan is a big document. It's a big book, if you think about it. And the business plan actually has everything else in it. So the business plan is going to have money, funding. It's going to have corporate structure, like what kind of business will it be? It's going to have marketing and branding. It's going to have registration and taxes. It's going to have research and development. So this business plan now has everything else inside it. It's a very big document. You got to think a lot about it. And what the business plan is really doing, it's you thinking about the future. So you've got your idea, you think it can make money, but now you've got to say, okay, in the first 6 months, what will my costs be? What money will I make? What's going to happen? Then in the first year, what's going to happen? In the second year. So you've really got to do lots of research and plan ahead. So the business plan is planning ahead and thinking, is this going to work in the long term? And how do I make it work? So the business plan is a big document about the future of the business. Big document about the future of the business. And there's a few things that I want to talk about that are going to be inside there. All right. So the first thing is costs, right? The money that you are going to have to spend. So we're going to look quickly at costs because that's where your money is going to go. And the one thing that I want to talk about is opportunity costs. It's a very unique economic term, And that if you're going to start a business, you've got to think about this. I'm going to write it down. So we've got opportunity costs. So what is an opportunity cost? It's what money you could earn if you didn't do the business. So let's say I have a job, right? Let's say I go to my job every day and I earn, let's make up a figure. Let's make up a big figure. Let's say I earn 10,000 euros a month, right? Very good job. And so that's what I have. That's my job. And I'm working and I'm making that money. But I have an idea now for a business. Now, to make this business work, I have to stop the job. I have to put that aside. I have to quit. I have to leave. So I'm giving up the 10,000 euros a month. That's my opportunity costs. To start this business, I give up that money. So this business has to first be able to make up for that opportunity cost. So if this business now will only make 3,000 euros a month for me, that's a big problem. Then why am I leaving the job that's making 10,000 euros? Because that's my first cost to think about. Before anything else, what money could I make if I don't do the business? And that's something that a lot of people forget. They think they get excited about this new idea. You got to think, is it going to make the same money that I could make if I didn't do it? So that's why opportunity cost is a unique economic term. Let me put it over here. So opportunity costs is the money you could earn if you did not start the business. So you guys can give me examples of what you think an opportunity cost is. All right, let me write that down. First, we had our business plan. And our business plan is a big document that talks about the future of the business. And then we also have opportunity costs, which is the money you could earn if you did not start the business. All right, now what I want you guys to also do is send me examples of other costs that we would have to think about in the business plan. Think of different businesses, again, that you may want to start, or businesses you know about, or businesses you work in, and tell me the costs that are going to be inside that business, things you're going to have to put into your business plan. And we're going to move on to the next part. So now that you're writing your business plan, the next thing to think of is corporate structure. Corporate structure is, what is the business going to look like? Is it going to be a big business? Is it going to have many people in it? Is it going to be one person? Is it going to be two people? And what are the legal responsibilities of each? So corporate structure is about the legal point of view. What does the law say about the business? So examples could be, the most basic example, if you start a business and you're one person, we would say you are a sole proprietor. Sole proprietor. Yeah, I think that's the spelling. Yeah. So that means you are one person, you're selling some stuff. There's no real, you haven't gone to the government and started a business. Maybe you're not even registered for taxes yet. You're just selling some stuff. It's you. You're one person, and that's what you're selling. So it's a simple thing. And that's why we say sole. Sole means by yourself, one. So you are one person, that is a sole proprietorship. Other examples of a corporate structure is you could be in a partnership. So a partnership means it's you and another person, maybe a few other people, but the law is now different for partners. And remember that different countries will have different laws for these different structures. So you have to do a lot of research to see what's going to work for you. So a partnership is now, it's not one, it's at least 2, 3, 4 people, but the structure is different. Then, if you don't like working with other people like that and being very close to them in that point of view, now you're going to start a real business. And one of the most common forms is a limited liability business. I'm just going to put the limited liability. Now here, you've got to put money in. Now it's a proper legal structure. It's a proper business. You've gone to the government. You got your number. You got your tax number. This is a proper business. The advantage of this is that it is separate from you. So with the sole proprietor, you and the business are the same person. With the partnership, you and the other people are the business. You know, there's no separation. With the limited liability, you and the business are separate. So if the business fails, you don't fail. It's only the business. So you will only lose the money you put into the business. You won't lose yourself. If it's the sole proprietorship and now you lose all the money, you've lost all your money because it's only one person. If it's the partnership and the business does badly, everyone loses everything because they're all together in a partnership. With a limited liability company, now you'll only lose the money you put in, and that's it. You will be protected. That's why it's called limited liability. You are limited to how much you could lose. This really is more like a business lecture today. But yeah, so that is the 3 basic forms of corporate structure that we could look at. All right. All right, I'm going to put them down. I see there are some examples here. Oh, we got a question. Valerio says, financial plan, is it part of the business plan? Definitely. The business plan will have finances, marketing. It'll have an overall view about what you want to do as a business. It'll have public relations. It'll have human resources. The business plan has everything inside it. Very good question. Thank you, Valerio. And let me write these down. So we've got the sole proprietor. Big word, I just want to get the spelling here. Sole proprietor, which is one man. The one man doing it by himself, or one woman. And then we got the partnership, which is 2 or more people. And then we have a company, and the most common one is a limited liability company. And this means the company, the business, and the person are separate. They are separate now. They have separate tax numbers. They have separate bank accounts. They are separate. And that's the best form because that's the best form if you're going to build a big business, because now the business itself, people can invest, people can interact with the business, and you can just make money, right? It's nothing about you anymore. The business is separate. So we've got our corporate structure. Ooh, I saw some more comments here. So this is an interesting question. All right, Marco has asked, can we consider mental health as an opportunity cost, or does it mean only money? That's a really good question. So in a way, Marco is right. Opportunity cost is anything that you're giving up to do this business. So yes, you could definitely say, if you're happy in your life and you feel that the business is going to cause a lot of stress, you're giving up the happiness and the stress-free life. Yes, definitely that is an opportunity cost you got to think about, not only money. Very good question. And then Divi says, a partnership is business with friends, family, or relatives. It doesn't have to be friends or family or relatives. It could be. It's just a business with other people. Other people. And the problem sometimes with a partnership, as we've said, with the individual person, if the business loses money, you lose money. Now with the partnership, let's say I'm doing well, all right? I'm running the business well, but my partner, let's say he goes and loses all his money, and now he wants to use the business's money. Because we're in a partnership, my money is his money. That's the problem. So he is bad with money. He lost his money. Now I'm going to have to help him because we're in a partnership. And that's what the law says, right? We are in a partnership. We're kind of together about everything. That's why you want a limited liability company, because it's separate from everybody. All right, then let's move on. We've done our corporate structure. Now we're going to do the next two together, sourcing and funding. Now, what does sourcing mean? Sourcing means finding things. It's a fancy word for saying finding things. And this could be anything. So you have to find products. You have to find suppliers. You have to find people to make the products. You have to find workers. You have to find transport, distribution, shipping, packaging. So sourcing is finding all the things you need for your business. Finding all the things you need. So it could be anything depending on the business. And one thing you need to find is funding. Funding is a fancy word for money. So Divi was saying that a partnership is with friends, family, relatives, or people you know. And yes, that's a way to get money. So you go to your family and say, I have this great idea. Can you loan me the money? Can you give me the money so I can start the idea? Because somewhere or another, excuse me, somewhere or another, you need to get money to make your products. So if your family doesn't have it and your friends don't have it and you don't have it, you have to go either to a bank. The bank may give you money. They may loan you the money. Then you have to pay it back. Or you may have to get investors. So a common way to get funding is with investors. I'll put it over here. So an investor is someone that has money but doesn't want to do any work. It's not the best way to say it, but they don't want to run the business. They don't want to make the products. They don't want to sell it. They don't want to market it. They want to give you money, and then you give them profit. That's what an investor wants. Remember, we talked about passive income earlier. So they want to give you money and then to earn money all the time from that. So you have to decide where you're going to get your funding from. Is it friends? Is it your money? Is it the bank? Or is it an investor? Because the investor, you have to pay back and you have to give him profit, and it's got to be regular. So you have to decide what you're going to do. If it's a big business, you're going to need lots of investors. You're going to have to be successful to pay it all back. So let's write all these down. So we got our sourcing. Sourcing is finding all the things you need for your business. And I'll put some examples here. It can be people. It can be products. It can be raw materials. It can even be a place. These are all things you need to source. You need to find. And then there is funding. Funding is getting the money you need for your business. And this can be from friends, family, banks, and investors. So you can tell us in the comments if you have ever invested in someone else's business, if you've ever loaned money and what happened, or if you started a business. Where did you get your funding from? I see a couple more comments here. So Mahmoudul says, this means the sacrifice that I accept to make the business successful, leaving my job. Yes, that is opportunity cost. You're sacrificing something to make the business successful. Perfect. All right, let's move on. So we've done now our corporate structure. We've sourced, we've funded, we've thought about where we're going to get the money. We've done all the research, and now we have to again say, before we actually take the money and start running the business, should we do it? Remember, feasible means, can I make this successful? Will it work? And it's very important to ask that question again, because now that you've done all this research and you see what is going to happen, you've done the business plan, you've seen the future of the business. It's all on paper. It's all on paper, which means it's not happening yet. Should you do it? So always ask the question again, should I do it? Is it worth it? Is it worth it? Will I make money? What about my opportunity costs? What about my other costs? Paying back investors? What type of structure? Now, should I do it? Very important question. All right, now let's say you say, yes, I'm going to do it. I'm going to go for it. The next stage in starting your business is registering, getting going. Registering means dealing with the government and dealing with taxes. So let's say you're going to start the limited liability company because you don't want to lose your money and you don't want to worry about your partner. So you will register with the government and you'll register with the tax department. You may even obviously start a bank account. I'll put it down here as well, because now you are doing the things necessary to get the business going. So you need a name, you need a number from the government to say you are registered, you are real. If anything goes wrong, it's got your name on that registration document. You got to get a tax number because you have to pay your taxes, and you have to get a bank account because if you're a business, you need a bank account. So this is all part of registering the business, and that will come directly from the corporate structure that we talked about earlier, depending on what you're going to do. Even if it's just going to be a sole proprietorship, or even if it's going to be a partnership, you should have a contract between you and the other partners. There should be documents. There should be legal documents about everything. So we can also put here that registering the business is also legal documents. There must be a contract between you and the people you are working with. Even if we're talking about the sourcing, if you have a supplier, if you have a worker, need to have a contract to say this is what's going to happen. So that is all under registering a business. Okay, and I see some comments. Is it practical? Yes, that's what a feasibility study is. Is it practical? Will it work? All right, so let's say, let me write it down. Let me put this down for our next stage, which is registering the business. So this means get a registration number from the government. Get a tax number. Open a bank account. And write contracts. To some people, this is the part that they are not interested in, because it's all about contracts and the law and the government, and it doesn't sound exciting. But it's an important part of the business, because you want it to be a real business. And then we get to the exciting part, which is now the branding and the marketing. Okay, so branding and marketing. Sometimes people think these words mean the same thing, but they don't. So marketing means to sell, right? Wherever we sell whether it is the corner shop and they put up a sign that says sale, that's marketing, or whether it is a big advertising campaign from Apple about the new iPhone, that's marketing. So marketing is telling your customers about your product, whether it's small or whether it's big. That's what marketing is. So let's write that down first. Marketing, my handwriting has gone bad today, is telling customers about the product. So it can be a big campaign or a little campaign. That's marketing. Branding, and you'll often hear people talk about brand identity or brand awareness. Branding is how you want your customers to think about your business. So if we're Apple, they want everyone to think of them as sophisticated, technologically advanced, cutting edge, cool. They want everyone to think that they're cool as well. So that's branding. How do they want customers to look at them, to think about them? So it's not about telling customers about their product. It's about how they want to be perceived. So that is branding. So how does the company want to be seen by the public? I'm going to write this down because I know my handwriting has gotten a bit bad. But that's the difference. Marketing, telling your customer about your product, trying to get them to give you money. That's marketing. Branding is saying, this is who we are. This is how we want you to look at us. So always think about Apple and how they want to be seen as very technologically advanced. And at the same time, they may make a big campaign about the new iPhone. One is marketing, one is branding. Mustafa says it's quite an easy step. Oh, registering the business. It is an easy step. Some people just don't like things that have to do with paper and the government. All right, so now let's define here. Marketing is telling your customers about your product. And I'm going to put the example here. So it is Apple making a campaign about the new iPhone, whereas branding thank you, Tinky Winky. I'm enjoying giving the lesson. Branding is how the company wants to be perceived, and perceived means seen by the public. So here our example is Apple wants people to see them as cool and technologically advanced. It's a very big difference. So when you're starting your business, you've got to think, how am I going to tell my customers about my product? What adverts am I going to use? What am I going to say? And when I'm doing that, how do I want them to look at me? Now, you don't always have to think, oh, I want to be cool and I want everyone to love me. Sometimes branding can say, we're the cheap option. We're cheap, we're easy, we're quick. Come to us. So that's also branding, and that's fine. So branding doesn't mean you have to be the best, you have to be the coolest, you have to be the most expensive. Branding is about how you want your customers to see you, and it can be small. It can be simple. It can be saying, we're cheap. That's fine as well. It's all about making money, not about being cool. All right, and the final step now, we've done all of our other things. We've registered our business. Hopefully now we're telling our customers about it. We're producing products and we're selling them. The final thing you should always do is research and development. And you'll often hear people talk about this. They may abbreviate it as R&D, research and development. And this means do more research and keep getting better at things, whether it's getting better at marketing and selling, whether it's getting better at making products, whether it's making new and improved products, you must always continue to work and change and get better at what you do. So this is asking questions and getting better at what you do. Whatever that is. Making products, selling, whatever. It's getting better. Must always be research and development, R&D inside the business. All right, and let me write that down before we look at the final one, which you guys can see already. It's not that complicated. So research and development. Ooh, my typing really went bad there for a second. This is R&D, which means asking more questions and getting better at what you do, whatever that is. All right, and I think we've got a couple more questions here or comments. Now, Mamadul says, good quality of products or services is the most important element of branding. So that can be, it's an interesting question. So if you want people to see your products as being very high quality, yes. But again, sometimes for branding, you want people to see your products as being the cheap option. Maybe not the best quality, but cheap. So branding doesn't mean that you have to be the best. It doesn't mean you have to be the best quality or the highest quality. It just means that you have to be seen by your customers in the way you want to be seen. So that's an important thing to realize. You don't have to be the best. That's not what business is about. Business is about making money any way that you can. All right. And the final thing, hopefully, after you've done all of this, is success. And success can depend on what you think success is. I would say success is two things. Firstly, you make money. Obviously, this is a business. And you should be happy in what you're doing. So that's what success means to me. You can send in the comment quickly what you think success would mean for you if you're starting a business. So we've done a lot here in our lesson. I think we've crammed, we've pushed the whole story of a business here. So if you found this a little bit difficult or confusing, go and watch it again, read through the comments, read through the definitions, start to understand the story of starting a business. All right. And like I said before, if you guys have missed any of the other lessons, if you came late to our lesson and you didn't see everything, you missed something, all the lessons are in the playlist. Go and watch them and watch all the other live sessions and all the other Cambly tutorials that we have. And again, I will say, if you guys are new to Cambly and this is your first time here, again, thank you for joining us. And Cambly is a great way to learn English. You can learn whatever you need because there are many tutors like me in different categories. So if you just want to practice conversation, you're going to find it. If you have a test that you're doing, like the IELTS, you're going to find tutors that are experts in that. If you want to work on business vocabulary, you're going to find tutors that are experts on that. So go and take a look and sign up as soon as you can. And I see there's a few last questions here. So we got Divi says development is updating with the future, not being with the past. That's right. So research and development is always thinking about the future. Ibtihal says to be happy, you have success in love. I think that is really important. It's true. It's true. Business aside, relationships are also very important. Thank you for that, Ibtihal. Veronica says, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to all the people saying thank you. And we've got one more thing here from Studying English. Success, honestly, is when the users are happy with using your service. Okay, that can also be success. You want people to be happy with your product. All right. Well, that's starting a business. Thanks for joining us here today. And we will see you in another Cambly live session soon. So bye for now.